Hi, everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy Coach. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'm so happy to be here with you. So, my topic for this week is lesson number 68 from the Workbook of A Course in Miracles. Love Holds No Grievances. And I love this lesson because it addresses a couple of different ideas. So, the first idea in paragraph 3 that it talks about is how we see God, how we see our Creator, right? How grievances or not or the lack of grievances, letting go of grievances, um, basically dictates how we see God. And then that's also going to dictate how we see ourselves, right? So in paragraph 3, the end of paragraph 2, it says, "Who can dream of hatred and not fear God?" Okay, so that's one of our big problems here is that we are afraid of God. We're afraid of the Creator. And why are we afraid of Him? Not because of anything that He's done that would make us fearful of Him, but basically it's because of what we've done that makes us fearful of Him, namely holding grievances. So it says in paragraph 3, it is as sure that those who hold grievances will redefine God in their own image as it is certain that God created them like Himself and defined them as part of Him. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will suffer guilt as it is certain that those who forgive will find peace. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will forget who they are as it is certain that those who forgive will remember. Would you not be willing to relinquish your grievances if you believed that all this were so? I would. Yes, I would. If I really believed with all of my being that I didn't have to be afraid of God, I didn't have to be afraid of anything, that I would have perfect peace, that I would have no guilt, and that I would know myself, yeah, I would love to give up holding grievances. And it's funny, the idea of holding grievances, I have said on this very YouTube channel, on these very videos, not that long ago, that I didn't have, any issues or challenges in any relationships with anybody, and I feel like that, like I'm not conscious of it. There's not anybody that like, oh, can't stand that person, I hate that person. I've done a lot of work on my relationships, whereas if you would have asked me before about one of my former partners, I would start the answer with, well, and then it was like blah, 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 and all the stuff that he did and why I'm divorced from him or why I'm not with him anymore. So I feel like I've come a long way in that. And and if you've been, following me on these videos, you know that there were times in my life when I was estranged from my father, my sister, my best friend. And all of those relationships have been healed. And so I don't walk around thinking that I have a lot of grievances. And, there's nothing like A Course in Miracles to bust you. There really isn't. And so I've done the workbook several times over the 21 years that I've been a course student, but I just do it over again. When I finish it, I just start it over again because why not? It's just, to me, it's still the fastest road to enlightenment. And there's always something that I read out of every single lesson when I'm just like, oh my God, when did they put that in there? And so it's layers, just like we're undoing the layers of the ego. As we undo the layers of the ego, we're actually able to see the sort of hidden to us layers of A Course in Miracles, and the deeper meanings, and just the words that our ego mind kind of edited out for us, the last time or the last 50 times that we read it. So I love this lesson then also because it's when I talk about it, it busts you, when it is actually when you're going into the practicing of the lesson, the the application of it. So it's asking you to searching your mind for those against whom you hold what you regard as major grievances, and then it goes on to then you kind of reduce it to searching your mind for those that you hold minor grievances against. And I always start this lesson out thinking, okay, well, this is going to be a short thing because I'm not going to find anybody that I hold grievances against. And then there I am, uh, finding grievances all over the place when I'm in the doing the meditation and looking for what Jesus is telling me to look for. And so it's that arrogance of the ego that makes us believe that we are not holding any grievances against anybody. If we're not holding any grievances truly in our mind against anyone, the likelihood that we would still be walking around this earth in a body is really minimal. And so um, I'm going to suffice it to say that I don't have as many grievances as I once did, and that using the amazing practice of these workbook lessons, and of course combined with the singular practice and tool that A Course in Miracles gives us to be able to dissolve these grievances that we have, to transform them, right? To shift our perception from fear to love, is that practice of forgiveness, and being able to do, like in this workbook lesson, I love that what it has you do as you're holding these people in your mind, and you're whatever, enumerating their faults or thinking about what you hold them in grievance for. The next step of that is to try and see these people as friends. In paragraph 6, it says, determine now to see all these people as friends. Say to them all, thinking of each one in turn, as you do so, I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you are part of me and come to know myself. That's another idea presented in the Course in Miracles. It talks about in chapter 8 that the central teaching of this curriculum, the central point, is know thyself. That's our whole thing that we're trying to do here, is to know ourselves, to understand ourselves, to see the truth of ourselves. And we can't see the truth of ourselves if we are holding anyone in grievance. It's just as simple as that. And so as we search our minds for those hidden grievances, and they may be, something really small, or they may be something really big, and they may be something that we've been denying for a long time, or we thought was healed. We thought we, weren't still carrying that around. But as I've often said, like in my coaching practice, when I will be talking to someone and we'll be doing like a resentment inventory or forgiveness, leading them through a forgiveness process, to be able to move where you are from, point A to like way down the that line of healing and perception and awakening and seeing things so completely differently, so that you can have a very different and much better experience of the world. The forgiveness is just a necessary process, but people will often tell me that they're not holding anything against anyone. Oh, I forget, I healed that a long time ago. I'm not holding anybody in guilt or blame or responsible or whatever. But then we do a practice like this, and up comes whatever it is. But that's what's so great about this lesson, is that it does bring up whatever is hidden. It brings it up right in your face as you're doing that meditation. And so and then you have the forgiveness process that is the healing, that's like the medicine. When you think of, to me, when I have people do this lesson and or when I do it myself and I see who's in there and what those grievances are, and I can really look at them, then that frees me to be able to, okay, these are all forgiveness. These are all opportunities for forgiveness that I can just then do that quick forgiveness practice on that process. And the forgiveness process, as A Course in Miracles presents it to us, is essentially what it does is it allows us to completely let go and just release our grip on anyone that we are holding in guilt and blame and think that they have anything to do with anything that is going on in this world and our happiness in it, or our scarcity, or our ability to be able to do this or that, our freedom, our whatever we might be holding somebody in that place of guilt over. That's what forgiveness is designed to do. And so the practice is, I forgive you, blank, whatever you is, whoever you is, because I remember there's nothing to forgive. Why is there nothing to forgive? There's nothing to forgive because A Course in Miracles teaches us that this world is an illusion. It's made up in our minds. And it's a dream of fear and guilt. And so the first thing that we have to understand, and even if we don't really understand it, I mean, I know that's a tough concept to get. So even if we can't really wrap our heads around, what do you mean there's no world? Just trusting that is the teaching, and that the more that you practice forgiveness, the more that teaching is going to become clear to you. You're going to have more clarity about it. So I forgive you because there's nothing to forgive. Why? Because I'm dreaming an illusion that the ego mind has made up. And so I forgive myself for dreaming this illusion. I forgive myself for believing it, for buying into the bullshit of it, for investing in it, for giving it my allegiance, for giving it my energy and my power. Because that's the only thing that is keeping it in place is me. And so I forgive myself for all of that. And I remember to release it to Holy Spirit. I ask Spirit to help me see this differently. And then I let go of it. And then it's done. And, if you might have to forgive the same thing multiple times. I mean, A Course in Miracles says one person doing a perfect forgiveness practice one time will forgive the entire world and will make the entire universe of time and space disappear. And okay, well, because there is only one person, right? So it's not like, oh, somebody down the street needs to do that for me so that my universe can disappear. It's not the way it works. There is only one of us out there, right? Because there's only one Son of God. There's only one Son of God that fell into a sleep and a dream, and that's what we're doing right now and what we're waking up from. It looks like there's a whole bunch of us. It looks like there's 9 or 10 billion people, or however many people there are on this planet alone, not to mention all the other planets and all the other galaxies and all that. But there really is only one of us, because God had one Son, and it's not Jesus, it's all of us. We are the sonship. We are one Son altogether, but we have fallen asleep. And so it takes one perfect awakening. And that is what we are doing right now. That's what the forgiveness process or practice is. I kind of think of it as a tip. There will be a tipping point at some time where I've forgiven enough things in my life and grievances that I hold to where I will have that much light. I will have done that much undoing of the ego. And when I say I'm really talking about all of us. We appear as many, we're really one, and every single time one of us practices forgiveness, that is a forgiveness that we are practicing for all of us. So love holds no grievances, because if you think about it, God is love. Love is just another word for God. You know, God is a Christian term. We don't have to call it God. We can call it love, and we can refer to it, and that is a more kind of a more universal way of talking about the creator, and we are extensions of the creator, so we are love also. And so love holds no grievances, so God the creator holds no grievances, so there's no such thing as a God that we need to fear. You know, we talked earlier, I mentioned earlier about we are afraid of God, and that depiction of God is a fearful, punishing, wrathful, jealous God that is favors some and others are in disfavor, and who, you know, I remember one time when I was counseling someone who was a very religious person, and I have respect for people's beliefs, but the poor guy told me that the reason why he had lost his loved one, actually I was doing grief counseling with him, was because God punishes his children, and that he believed that he had lost his wife because God was punishing him because he was sinful. And you know, my heart goes out to those who have that kind of a misunderstanding of the a creator made of love, that a being made of love could do anything like that. You know, and then I have people say to me, well, but you say that we're an extension of God, and so we're made of love, and yet we do things like that. You know, we punish each other, we have attack thoughts, we kill and torture and injure and hurt and harm each other. In the dream, that's absolutely true. It's one of the reasons why it's so great that the truth is that God is nowhere in this dream. In terms of this is not, God's existence is not here. God doesn't think of us, or love, or the creator, or whatever your name for it, does not think of us as like, ah, those poor kids that are down there on Earth, or, you know, in the galaxy or whatever, you know, duking it out and being full of fear and attacking each other. And, you know, I feel bad for them. God, because why is that? It's because it's a dream. And if God knows anything about us, he knows that we are safe at home. We never left. We are hanging out with him, chilling in heaven with all our bros as one, not separate from anyone, and fully awakened. This is our dream that we're asleep. I know that's kind of funny that we're dreaming that we're asleep, you know, but that's what A Course in Miracles teaches us, is that we are in a dream, and we are dreaming of exile while safe at home. And so when we say love holds no grievances, not only does the creator hold no grievances against us or anyone, not possible, because the creator is a being of love. We are extensions, and so the truth of us, who we really are, know thyself, is that we are pure love, pure light, pure perfection. And we literally can hold no grievances. And so all the forgiveness process is doing is allowing us to dissolve the dream that we are holding grievances, that we see our brothers as guilty. Because if we see our brothers as guilty, then we can't help but see ourselves as guilty. And so it keeps us in that dream. It keeps us from waking up. When we allow our brothers to awaken because we see them for who they are, we see them as the love beings that they are, then we allow not only them to awaken, we allow ourselves to awaken. And so that helped me see this differently in the forgiveness practice, and then releasing it to spirit to be healed, then we do see it differently. We shift our perception from fear to love. We see our brother as innocent. We see the light and the love that is the truth of Him. And we see it then in ourselves. And then we do that enough times. We're enlightened, we're awakened, we're back at the home we never left, but we're in full awareness of it instead of being asleep here in the dream. So that's my message for you today. Love holds no grievances. And I really encourage you, lesson 68, to check this out and to do the practice for yourself. And if you are harboring an illusion that you don't have any grievances, do this lesson and just make sure. Periodically do it and just make sure. So I love you so much. I thank you so much for being with me today. If you would like to experience more of this practical application of A Course in Miracles, please subscribe to my channel. I am here roughly every week talking about how to live A Course in Miracles in your life. And if you would like to have an experience of the way that I do coaching, where I teach people how to heal their relationships with themselves and others and God, because it's all the same thing, so that they can have miraculous lives. You can book a free discovery call with me where I demonstrate the way that I work. So if you have any aspect of your life where you are not experiencing happiness, it might be something that you want to check out and try and see if coaching might be for you. So there's a couple of other free goodies that are below the video if you want to click the button and have access to those. And I will see you next week. And by the way, Palm Sunday is coming up this Sunday, so it is the beginning of Holy Week, Easter week, and it's the week that we celebrate. Not that we get all wrapped up in crucifixion. Crucifixion was only the part of the teaching that led us to what the real teaching was, which was resurrection and eternal life. And so when we think about Palm Sunday and we think about that joy and the celebration of Jesus coming into Jerusalem, people waving palms and welcoming, those palms represent triumph and eternal life. And that's what we're talking about here. So I'll be talking next week about letting go of crucifixion and embracing your resurrection. So I'll see you then. I love you.